So if you're listening to the show, you might know that I have been going through shit lately. And this really made me think that I would love to offer my group program, the Urban Cleanse group program. But this time I am part of the group. I would like to go back to losing the weight that I gained these past couple of years. And I would like to feel better in my own skin. And I know a lot of you do too. And I do know that my program does work if I only did it myself. So if you'd like to join, please go on www.organilicious.ch, click on the Urban Cleanse button and join us. It'll be loads of fun. We'll do it together. I will be your support, your knowledge, as well as your team member. I'm looking forward to see you there. Thanks a lot.
Hi everyone, I'm Vanessa Craig. I'm a biomedical researcher and the founder of Formetta. We make a premium Swiss collagen supplement, and I'm today's guest on the So Freaking Healthy podcast. We talk about the importance of collagen in the context of healthy aging, and we bust many important myths surrounding nutrition and supplements and shed light on the confusing supplement world.
Hi Danna, how are you doing today?
Megan, I haven't seen your pretty face in too long.
I know, I was offline for 3 whole glorious weeks and it was fantastic. I did not sit at my desk. I did not have on these headphones and I did not do anything other than hang out with my fantastic nephew.
I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous.
I have to say the weather didn't completely cooperate with us. He was here for 3 weeks because if you're going to pay for a ticket and he has the time, so he should come. He loves to hike. That's what he likes to do. You know, he's not into museums or shopping or towns. I mean, yeah, he enjoys these, but really it's all about the hiking. So it's like, okay, the first week we're going to go out hiking. I force the poor boy to camp because I want to do everything on the cheap because it can get really expensive really fast if you do hotels every night. And weather is okay, right? And so go to campgrounds, we camp, and then we hike. That was the plan for the first week. We come back the second week. That was my birthday. We had pub quiz. We had Fantasy Basel, which is like Comic-Con and some other stuff. And then go back out the third week for some more hiking. And exactly the weather was exactly wrong. It was raining the first week, sunny the second week, and raining the third week. I was so pissed. We did a lot of hiking anyway, but not nearly as much as I had planned on.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. We did try a VR experience. Have you ever done VR, virtual reality?
Well, I've done like a mini version in an expo once, which was just a complete mindfuck and really cool. And my friend has been begging me to go. There's apparently a really cool place somewhere around here. And she's been like, let's just go. And I'm like, yeah, maybe some other time. But I kind of want to go, but it was just like during COVID when she was like, let's go and put this like stuff that people put on their face. And then like, I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. But maybe now it's time. I don't know.
Well, I had heard good things, and my husband and I, we were interested in VR just as a gaming set to have here. He games, I game. It was kind of like a natural, like, should we get it, right? But I also get motion sickness. And so that was something where we said, okay, we really want to try it out. And there's a VR center in Basel and 2 different kinds. Like one, we did an escape room because I thought, okay, I don't want to do anything where like I'm flying, right? I'm air quotes, I'm flying because I feel like that's going to make me nauseous. So They sat us down each in a chair and we had these kind of hand sensors. So you have the equipment on and you have an earpiece in your ear with a microphone so you can hear the other people, which is kind of a little weird because I can hear them naturally and then also through the microphone. And we did this escape room, which I didn't think about it. My husband chose the space one and I thought, okay, that's fine, whatever, space. He likes space, we'll do the space one. Should have thought about it because we fly in fucking space. So like we're floating around and I'm just like, I didn't actually get sick, but I did at some point, I just had to stop moving and let those 2 do stuff. The actual escape room part was fun, but it was also, we were so good. We were expecting to be in this VR experience for an hour and we were done in like half an hour. And we're just like, oh, So, I mean, I think there's good things and bad things. We didn't do like the whole body experience where you put on a pack and you have something on your feet and your hands. So that's maybe something else. But all three of us at the end were like, okay, we can check that off the list. We don't need to do it again. But yeah, but that's, I think I forced my nephew to do it. And you would think like an 18-year-old boy who games would want to do it. And he was just like, I'll do it if you want to, which surprised me a little bit.
That's interesting. So are you going to get a system at home?
I don't know. My husband has talked about it, but it would be his then. And I don't know. Let's say I'm not as enthralled with it as I just regular games. They're fine with me, I think.
Super Mario.
Yeah, we love the driving games as well. But hey, we have a wonderful guest today, Vanessa, and maybe we should hop into the interview, huh?
I think so too. Let's get going. Hi, Vanessa. How's it going?
Hi, guys. Very well, thanks. Thank you for having me. Congrats on this podcast. It's become a real treasure. I love listening to it.
It's great when our guests also are listeners. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have great chemistry, and yeah, I hope you really keep going. I love it feels like you're really going to dive into a broad range of topics, and yeah, you've got unique perspectives. So keep going, guys.
Thank you. Yeah, we do have a lot of gold coming up. So I'm quite excited about it. It's all about finding the time to edit, but there we go. Yeah. So Vanessa, we have you on the show today because we are really, really, first of all, I love you. You know this. I've loved you for years. But we are just fascinated by your business and fascinated about you really and what you do. And so we wanted to just ask all them questions and have everyone else, especially our awesome listeners, get to know you as well and get to know about what you actually do and what you're all about. So I know that Megan has a bunch of questions lined up for you. I hope you're ready.
I do.
She's going to ask them all.
Good.
So I think actually thank you, Danna. I think the first question, because we're talking about your business, Formetta, and this is a supplement, and there are lots of supplements out there. And for me, as a supplement person, it's always difficult to understand what's going on. What do I need? What do I don't need? And your supplement is specifically around collagen. And I saw your raw ingredients and everything. The best place to start is just simply what is collagen and like, what is its main purpose in our body? Yeah. Can we just start there for everybody who doesn't know what collagen is?
Let's start there, and then we can talk about, how overwhelming the supplement world is. And so, collagen is the most abundant protein in our body. It's essentially the glue holding our body together. So without it, we're a puddle on the floor. So it's an important structural protein. And that's why it's quite alarming that as we age, our collagen levels are declining. And therefore, the best thing you can do is boost your collagen stores to essentially remain youthful. And the best way to do this, since our diet is very collagen poor, is to supplement. So take in high quality collagen peptides, preferably together with co-ingredients that help with collagen synthesis. So that's what my product is designed to do. This is an advanced formulation with not only collagen peptides, but also the essential co-ingredients, which can help the cells make the collagen, because you're not essentially putting collagen into your body, you're putting in the building blocks, which is going to trigger the cells to then make the collagen, which is then going to go to all the necessary parts of your body, which need collagen, which are various. So of course, we know the beautifying effects of collagen, the skin, the nails, the hair, but also all of our internal organs, our joints, our bones, these rely on collagen as well to stay healthy.
And I have to say, just for our listeners, because you can't see Vanessa's face and hair at the moment, and I'm sure Megan will agree, she's got the most gorgeous skin and hair. So obviously that shit works.
Making me blush, Danna. That's so nice of you. Look, that's really my goal, is to so I'm a scientist, and I really set out to understand how we can slow down the aging process naturally. I know there's a lot of aesthetic medical things we can do and inject into our face. I wanted to go down the natural route and really harness nutrition, but really understand what really works. Because if you just look at the marketing, you go into a shop which sells supplements, I mean, you're told a million different things at once. How are you meant to navigate this? And luckily, being a research scientist, I can look at all the research and know what actually has scientific backing, what is convincing, what will work. And yeah, I mean, that is my goal, is to slow down the aging process for everyone, because it's everyone, you know, health is individual. With collagen, that is something that I can recommend to everyone, as opposed to other supplements, which have to be really done on an individual basis. Yeah, so anyone over the age of 25, their collagen stores are declining. Once you reach menopause, they drop off a cliff. So you really want to be mindful of how you are taking care and bolstering your collagen to remain healthy.
So is collagen synthesis inside the body directly related to our estrogen production then?
Yes, there is a link. So as soon as our estrogen drops off with menopause, so does our collagen production. So of course, hormones are involved in so many different areas of our body. And yes, collagen production is certainly one of them. So that's yeah, sorry.
No, I was going to say, I think that's another one of those things that nature never intended women to live beyond childbearing years. The body just shuts down, like you dry up and literally everywhere, right? I mean, so I guess, yeah.
I don't know, but I don't know if I can agree with that, because honestly, like, I don't believe that we are meant to feel such huge earthquakes when we're PMSing or when we're going through menopause. I honestly don't believe that, and hey, fight me over it. I'm happy to talk to you about it, but like, I'm really curious about that, because I know that I used to suffer from PMS like crazy when I was growing up. And that was when my diet was just miserable. And now when my diet and lifestyle is really good, I would like to think anyways, then I don't really suffer from it, right? And you see also with my clients, they go through menopause and then they'll change their lifestyle and diet, and they actually don't necessarily feel that much. And I think, Megan, you even told me about your mom and your grandma, right? Who didn't necessarily feel such a huge like shock from the whole. So yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's just difficult because medical science doesn't allow for women of childbearing years to have a lot of research done on them because they're of childbearing years. So, I mean, in general, we're diving straight off into a tangent here about women science, science based on women's bodies, because, I mean, everything, there's just so much we don't know about the women's bodies and how they function, because we're not supposed to experiment on women who can still have children. Okay, so, but let me get back on track though.
I have to just one thing though, because it's such a fascinating topic to me about the lack of research on women. You've probably seen also recently with the whole, everyone is intermittent fasting now, which is a lot of strong science backing it up, but not in women. And they're kind of saying now that it's not as straightforward giving advice to women about intermittent fasting as well, because the research is clearly lacking in women. So I think we still have to watch and wait to know exactly what to do. Yeah. I mean, it really depends on your cycle about how much stress you can handle. And intermittent fasting is a huge stressor based on hormesis, which I know you guys are familiar with. And so.
No, I agree. I think that's exactly why I actually do introduce the idea of intermittent fasting to my clients, but we don't do it in such a way. Like I always tell them, like, look, around your cycle, forget it. Don't just do it. Even if it's something that you're really thriving on, just the fact that when we're going through PMS, I don't know about you ladies, but I eat the house down. Like I eat the house down. There's no way I could intermittent fast. I don't even fast 5 minutes, let alone 16 hours, So it's just like what you need to listen to your body more than anything. And the intermittent fasting that I do with them is not really, anyways, long story short, I agree. I think that there's now a bit more research about women with intermittent fasting for sure. But I agree, there just isn't enough in general. I think in general, scientific studies are not focusing on women, and then we're just relying on information that was basically tested on men, and we're assuming that it's, you know, the same, but it really isn't, because men and women, not the same people.
Mm-hmm.
But all right, our tangent over, I guess.
Oh, I was ready to go on another tangent. So I was going to say, like, and this is one part of my huge gripe, is that it's just general health advice that is meant to apply to everyone. So what I'm passionate about is individual health, and that's really how it has to be, because something that works for someone, you know, a ketogenic diet may work wonders for one person, but really not another. And yeah, it's what we see, whether at the supermarkets or the supplement aisle, is that these things do not take that into account, and everyone is expected to take everything and expect the same results. And yeah, frustrating.
Yeah, I like the experiment of one. It's you just keep experimenting. N equals one. And you're the only one that really matters. If it works for you, it works for you. I think we talked about that on the sleep episode. My husband was so happy on the sleep episode. He's like, because I don't like the fact that he drinks coffee at night or drinks alcohol before bed, but yet he's fine. And so I'm like, he's like, I am vindicated, because I have to just keep my mouth shut, because I'm like, you're doing everything wrong. But you know, it's to each their own. And as well as, you know, as health coaches, and as I know you're also a nutritionist, that I think you obviously have way more credentials to give people advice on nutrition, but in general, you're doing it from an aspect of actual physical tests that have been taken, so you can give the proper advice, knowing blood tests, DNA tests, and as your other job that you do besides Formetta. And I think that's the proper way to do it. When Danna and I, as a health coach, is really more along the lines of making sure people are making healthy decisions and helping them do that experimental N of one to see what works best for them and to help them along that journey. And I think that's a really good distinction. And I'm glad we have a nutritionist. I'm
not actually, I wouldn't call myself a nutritionist. Guys, I don't even know what to call myself these days. You can decide it. We can decide at the end. But I call myself a nutrition expert, biomedical researcher.
Okay.
I, analyze people's data. I look at health individually, basically focusing on longevity, aging. So yeah, I have to be careful not to call myself a nutritionist. I have studied nutrition, but I wouldn't call myself a nutritionist. Okay. But yeah, I am a huge fan of having a health coach. I think this is really necessary, because I can give people the information and the data. Are they going to make the changes? Someone needs to hold their hand to really show them how. So yeah, it's so important. It's what you're doing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So you mentioned something at the beginning, Vanessa, about collagen, and that we don't have a lot of collagen in our diet. Where does collagen show up in a diet? Is this kind of bone, like animal related products? So, and how does that affect vegans?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought this up, because we can also bust the myth of, is there a vegan collagen source? And unfortunately, there's not. So it has to come from animals. Plants do not make collagen, and it comes from specific animal parts, the sources. So the lean muscle meats, which is what we tend to eat from animals, is devoid of collagen. It comes from the skin, the bones, the gelatinous fatty cuts of meat, which we don't tend to consume a whole lot of. A lot of cultures still do. They understand, they value the importance of these parts, of consuming these parts of the animal. So in Asia, you have a lot of cultures where, they do consume a lot of bone broth. They have very collagen-rich diets because they see the importance. Chicken soup, of course, everyone knows the huge value of that. But unfortunately, this is not in our daily diet anymore. And we could talk also about why. I mean, I guess this is because of a lot of the fear of consuming animal fats and that kind of stuff as well. But yeah, that's why the best thing to do is to supplement with collagen peptides to get that into your diet.
Yeah. So yeah, I told you I have a list. I have a laundry list. So in terms of also, as a supplement, and a lot of times, there's the fear of buying supplements or vitamins that just go through you and they don't actually absorb. And you have a word that you use called bioactive. And I've heard this term before. And I think that this is probably something also that it would be good for our listeners to understand. What does it really mean to be bioactive? And what is the difference between that and something that's not bioactive? And if something's not bioactive, does that mean it doesn't work in the body?
Yeah, essentially not. So depending on how high quality the peptides are, how well they've been processed, if the collagen, the amino acids have been degraded because the process was not good enough, then they won't be active in your body. It is a very fancy term. I use it to really highlight that our collagen peptides have been proven to work. They've been clinically proven to work. And that's just a nice way to describe that.
Okay. Can we talk a little, I'm just loving your ingredients. So I'm on your formula page, and there's another ingredient in your formula that's called MSM, methyl sulfonamethylmethane. Yeah, okay. I messed up the middle of that, but MSM, what is that? I'm just curious how that works.
That's a natural sulfur containing compound, and that's needed for building collagen. It's a fantastic supplement in its own right. So a lot of people take it on its own for joint pain, inflammation, skin health. But combining it with the collagen peptides, of course, has synergistic effects. So that's why we for sure add it in. And it's at a high dose, so a potent, clinically proven dose, which means it tastes gross because it's, a sulfur compound. And that's why we had the huge challenge of making Formetta drinkable, because we do have a few ingredients in there that at a high dose are pretty nasty. So we've got astaxanthin, which comes from algae, and the MSM, which is sulfur. So, we do flavor it naturally and with stevia. So nothing that's going to spike your blood glucose. But yeah, that's actually the reason why we did it, because we have a lot of people asking for a natural, unflavored one. It's like, I don't think you want to go there.
You're not gonna, no.
You got to do this every day. So let's make it enjoyable.
And I have to say, I usually really just genuinely, and I told you this, Vanessa, before, I genuinely cannot stand these type of drinks in general, like taking the supplement in a drink form. You got to twist my arm. Like, it's just none of them are actually going to be pleasant. And Formetta is pleasant to drink. Like, I enjoy drinking it. It's a really, really nice, plopping a couple of cubes of ice in there, just sitting outside and drinking my Formetta in the garden. I mean, like, I love it. It's just so delicious.
And it's a cocktail.
Exactly. I mean, add a little bit of alcohol. No, but no, it really is delicious. And I agree. I mean, there's also, the grapeseed is also bitter. It's super bitter, right? So
yeah, that's true. Yeah, with the grapeseed extract as well. Yeah.
Which, I mean, and again, I mean, just for the listeners to understand what we're talking about in terms of ingredients. So we have the collagen, we have the MSM, we have acerola, we have the grapeseed, we have aloe vera. I mean, like, we know that all of these things, the Q enzyme, the Q10, so that these are all really good supplements. Now, what I want to bring up is this is something that I tell, and I know that you'll agree with me. So I want to pick your brain about this. I always tell my clients, because a lot of people come up to me and they're like, and what do you think about the supplements that I'm taking? Right? Which A, is not my place to tell them, but B, is my first question would be, did anyone prescribe those to you, or are you taking them off the top of your head? And 99% of the time they're like, yeah, well, I saw a documentary, I heard this, I read, Dr. Google told me, basically, right? And I'm like, look, choosing a supplement off the top of your head is like shooting in the air and waiting for a bird to fall, right? What are the odds out of the trillion supplements that are out there by now, like just insane amounts of everything? What are the chances that the 3 to 5 ones that you chose to have are actually going to hit the spot for you and for your needs? Right? Yes, everyone probably needs more magnesium. Yes, everyone needs collagen, and everyone needs omega-3s. And, there are very specific ones that, yeah, everyone does need, but not all of them on the market are actually equally high quality or even good at all. Right? Yeah. And not the amounts that you're taking should really be taken for your needs, as you said. So what are your thoughts about what you have put together as a combination of supplements, actually?
So it's probably surprising for someone who makes a supplement to say that I really think that you should be absolutely only supplementing if necessary. So getting your nutrition from food, real food. Like I said, collagen is an exception because it is devoid in our diet. And we really focused the formula on collagen production and not trying to go into all the different other pathways, because then, like I said, this is really based on individual health. So yeah, it's with supplementation, I think it's such a tricky thing to navigate, and it's not as harmless as people think. I mean, there's a lot of dangers of supplementation which people aren't aware of. And yeah, I agree. So many people are misguided. And basically, that's what a lot of the work I do at River is how to supplement wisely. So yes, I can recommend collagen to everyone, specifically Formetta, because I know it works. And the dosages are right. And we've tested for heavy metals and toxins, which hardly anyone else does, surprisingly, because this is something you take every day. And collagen, actually, the toxins in the animals accumulate where the collagen is. So it's important. But it's important to, look at all your blood biomarkers to actually know how well you're absorbing nutrition, to see if you are deficient in something, which could be supplemented, or usually it's just a diet adjustment needed. And also we look at genes to see how well you are capable of processing these nutrients, and that might explain why you need to supplement or adjust your diet. So we look at a extensive panel of genes which show how well you process things like omega-3, calcium, iron, vitamin A, E, a lot of different nutrients to explain your body, to help you understand what your body needs and why it's different from other people's, and why your diet works for you, maybe not your husband. We're all expected to eat the same, and it's just not realistic. We also look at optimal diet type. So how sensitive are you to carbohydrates? Should you be having a low carbohydrate diet, which everyone's telling you that you should at the moment? Are you more sensitive to fat than others? I think it's so confusing for people to understand or even trust nutrition these days, considering what we were told in the 90s is completely different to what we're being told now. So I get the confusion, and I get that a lot of people have just given up and just, essentially, self-diagnosing, doing everything on their own, because it's confusing. But we look at salt sensitivity, alcohol response. Should you be drinking coffee? Do you need to feel guilty about these certain things? Some people actually have genetic benefit, like the genetic predisposition to having benefits from drinking alcohol. They're very lucky people, but there are certain genotypes which allow that. So yeah, it's basically taking the guesswork out of your health and allowing you to, I like to say, supplement wisely and really optimize your diet.
I love that. That's awesome.
With the genetic profiling, we also look at stress and sleep as well. So how stress resilient you are. There's a certain genes which allow you to, they call them warrior versus warrior genes. So you can understand yourself better. It's often really makes it easy, because they've even shown scientifically that if people have this information about themselves, it really does make a difference rather than general information.
Agreed.
I think when Danna and I both went to IIN, the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, and I thought it was really interesting. One of the first lessons that we had was about the book publishing industry and how every fad diet has a book coming out, and people tend to think that if something is in print, then it is true. Right. And now you could even expand that to the internet. If I found it on the internet, it's true. Right. Or conspiracy theorists, nothing is true. Right. But in general, when we were growing up in the 80s and the US, and in general, even in this late 60s and early 70s, kind of when the whole health craze kicked off in the States, it was these books, everything was book related. Right. And, so I think it's interesting for people to understand that what is put in front of us is what somebody is making money on. almost always.
Yeah.
Anything that comes in front of your face by not a, somebody is somebody trying to make money. And that's included in all of these health related books or magazines and stuff like that. So you have to take everything with a grain of salt. You have to go, okay, is this book providing me with references, with citations of studies and other things? And even then, when they're writing a book, the whole point of writing the book, not the whole point, but most of the point, is to make money off of the book. Even if they're doing it for altruistic purposes, they want to share the word. But also, a lot of these people who are making these kind of books, whatever diet or different kind of health-related craze, it's something that they did and worked for them, right? And there's always that feeling, again, what they told as an IN, it's that you have to make sure that your client understands that just because they read the book and they do it to the letter and it doesn't work, doesn't mean that they're a failure. It just means that worked for the person who wrote the book and not for them. Yeah. And that's, again, like trying to keep all of this in focus when you're talking with someone. And that's one of the reasons why I really enjoyed at IIN learning about, like, I think 100 different types of diets and other things, is not to push the diet or to suggest it even. It's to mostly understand what people have tried in the past. Oh, I tried Atkins, I tried this, I tried that. And then we can go, okay, well, now we know what doesn't work, right? Because you've tried these things, but it also gives us an understanding of what they've done already.
I have to add to something that you actually just said, Megan, is that also something that drives me crazy is that I see some experts in the field of health, but not necessarily nutrition. There's one post that just kind of like really shook me the other day, where this person has no background in nutrition, but she posted a picture of 2 books that she just read and said, like, do you need help with, like, you're eating out, and I'm like, no, please, just no, because reading a couple of books, and I've read many, many books, and I'm still not saying like, oh, look, guys, these are all the books that I read, please listen to me. Like, that's not how it works, right? So yes, books can give you an idea. But one of the things that I think I spoke about even on the first episode that we did, you, Megan, right, is I keep saying, like, these books even drive me crazy because yes, there's a lot of good, valuable information there, but it will not work for every person. If you have histamine intolerance and you're reading a book about bone broth that's been cooked for 24 to 48 hours, you're going to be miserable. No, you're going to be fucking miserable because you're just having so much histamine and you're now reacting to just the histamine. The bone broth itself is great, but just the histamine that collected in the 24 to 48 hours of cooking is literally going to run you down, and you don't even know, and you don't understand why it doesn't work for you, right? So we just need to really understand the bioindividuality of each and every person, which actually brings me to the next question, Vanessa, is there anyone or any health issues that one might have where you would say, look, Formetta is not for you?
So I've only had one person who had surgery on their upper intestine, and this didn't make sense because then they wouldn't be absorbing the amino acid, like, the peptides or amino acids. But otherwise, no, I mean, like I said, people in their early 20s probably don't really need to work on their collagen too much. I have people pregnant, breastfeeding, taking it. This is when they need a lot of support. So no, I haven't come across anyone who shouldn't be bolstering their collagen. And going back to what you, because it's just too much to say on this topic of books irritating the shit out of me. You've gotten me worked up, guys. Documentaries are the worst because, I mean, books, yes, they always have to have this extreme message, right? It always has to be extreme because that's what sells and that's what essentially doesn't work for everyone. But documentaries, I find, they sensationalize everything, and it drives me nuts. And they're so convincing. So people could come away being so convinced, but it's always filled with just
propaganda.
I was going to say, I was trying to think of another word of propaganda, but yeah, it really is propaganda. I mean, it's propaganda and things that aren't fact-checked and incredibly biased. Documentaries are always biased, and because they can. It is not regulated. They are allowed to publish whatever they bloody want. And then we've got the TikTok trends, which are crazy, People thinking putting lemon juice in their coffee is going to work wonders, and everyone's like downing aloe vera juice now because of TikTok. And it's, I don't know.
Oh man.
I got to keep away for my sanity because it hurt.
It does,
So
doesn't it?
can you tell us at least one documentary which really boils your blood?
She's gonna name 10 now.
I'm trying to think of, what is it? What was the last vegan documentary that everyone was so convinced by? Do you remember the name?
Yeah.
Is it the one on Netflix? Because I watched one about like elite athletes and their vegetarian or vegan diets.
Give me a
It was
second.
about this kickboxer who is going through rehabilitation.
Yeah, that's the one. And
Yeah.
I had clients who turned vegan after watching that, and because they made it seem so easy. And I'm all for going vegan if you choose to, but it's not as easy as it, people make out. And everyone, like I said, everyone is different, and everyone needs to take care. I mean, based on your genetics is how well you process vitamin B12 and omega and these things that are deficient in a vegan diet, and it has to be done carefully. And also, I know there's no argument about eating meat for sustainability and the environment, but in health terms, meat can be an incredibly nutrient dense source of food, very efficient. In terms of a vegan diet is a lot of work, whereas having a really healthy omnivore diet, they've got a lot of nutrients in them too. So I think making meat out to be a villain is not right, especially in a country like Switzerland where you can eat very responsibly, and avoid factory farming.
Yeah, I agree. I think, and again, people who know my history know that I was nearly vegan for a while. It was not good for me for certain reasons. And I was pretty shook up when I found out that I had to start eating meat or else my health was on the line, basically. But what I find is problematic also, and again, this could be for vegan diet or it could be for any diet, really, ketogenic diet or anything, is the fact that a lot of people do it, again, without that knowledge. So they just go, I saw a documentary, I'm going to start eating vegan. I'm going to go to this shop, anything that says vegan on it, I'm going to buy, and 90% of it is processed crap. Right. So there's that problem there where, it's like me, my company is called Organolicious. I'm not saying that everything organic is healthy, because I do not walk into an organic shop and go, ooh, cookies, ooh, like chocolate. It's not going to be healthy, maybe slightly healthier, but it's not going to actually be healthy because it is organic. Right. So I think there's that, which is problematic. And again, going back to bioindividuality. Right. For me, legumes were devastating, and I lived off of them and it was just terrible. So, I had to reintroduce meat, and my health is better for it at the moment. So, at the end of the day, I'm happy that I made that, decision upon tests and upon finding out what is right for my body. So I agree. I think, I kind of wish I could be vegan because, of course, there's a lot of really good things about going vegan. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I think every diet works to a certain extent, because every diet will eventually tell you, leave out the garbage. Okay. And it's a very extreme word. I know some people are like, there's no bad food. I'm like, yes, there is. Processed, food-like products are not, yes, I eat them too sometimes. I'm not saying you should never eat it, but definitely not something that you need to have on a regular basis. And all of these diets are going to tell you that. And all of these diets are going to say, have more vegetables, which all of us need to have.
Yeah. I mean, when you put fiber with everything, so they've shown that saturated fat, which everyone tries to avoid and thinks is completely evil, is absolutely fine when you pair it with fiber. Yeah. If you have it alone, then it can wreak havoc. But again, with fiber, which is how it should be in a balanced meal, it's fine. And it's also about how you cook meat, right? So they've shown, yes, grilling meat on a barbecue, that charred meat, there's a lot of toxic stuff comes out of this into our body. But you can avoid this by marinating meat. Completely avoid it. Marinate the meat in lemon juice. You neutralize all advanced glycation end products, they're called, and other toxins which are formed upon grilling the meat. So there are ways to, like I said, source the meat responsibly, cook it properly so it's not toxic, that you're avoiding all of these harmful things which are out there, vegan propaganda.
And vegans, we're not picking on you. We can say exactly the same stuff about keto. We can say the same thing about everything. Yeah.
Being vegan is great, but it has to be done responsibly, and it's a lot of work. And I think people who do that are amazing. But I'm saying people who want to eat meat, there is a way to do it.
Vanessa, I am curious because I have my background is in a science background as well. And when you say that you've developed this, and I know developing something takes a long time, I am super curious on, number one, how did you get started in Switzerland developing something like this? How long did it take? What kind of labs or manufacturing are you doing? Because you also, everything is manufactured in Switzerland. Would you mind just talking a little bit about that process? Because as a consumer, I would love to know.
Yeah, it was a long process. Finding the right producer was harder than finding a life partner. I'll tell you, it took years. But I didn't give up. And that's where I really learned about how dirty the supplement industry can be too, because a lot of places were not willing to go to the lengths that I demanded. I wasn't going to cut corners. I wasn't going to sacrifice anything. So it was quite shocking to me that it was so hard to actually produce this product. I did not anticipate that, but, learned a good lesson, and glad that I didn't compromise, because I'm very proud of the product, and I can stand by it, and it's exactly what I wanted to make. I essentially made this product for myself. That's really how it all started. I was noticing the effects of aging, as one does in their 30s. Having kids, you feel like you're just undergoing premature aging at its fullest. With sleep deprivation, I come from Australia, so I am super sun damaged from being a kid without sunscreen. And if you notice how fair skinned I am, I was not meant to grow up there. So with that much sun. So that has taken its toll as well. And so, as I said, I really wanted to slow down the aging process and all of that stuff. And I became very convinced of collagen from the clinical research papers. And I wanted to take this myself. I didn't set out to make one. I was really disappointed with what was on the market based on everything, such as, transparency. Do they test for toxins, heavy metals? Is the dose right? Why is there sugar in the supplement? Why does sugar need to be in a collagen supplement? Sugar breaks down collagen. Why is there preservatives? These are pro-aging. So all of these stupid ingredients, and basically not finding the formulation that I wanted. So I made my own for myself, and realized, then started sharing this with friends, and realized that this is something I should concentrate on. This is something that I want more people to take. And therefore went on the journey of finding a producer who I could work with in Switzerland. And this took a long time. Like I said, it was like a long dating process. And long, painful dating process, which did take a long time.
Oh, good. And how long has Formetta been on the market?
So 2 years now.
Okay.
Yeah, we launched in the pandemic, which seemed not the best time, but I really didn't want to wait. And really, when you think about it, everyone was thinking about their health at that time. I launched on my web shop with my small budget. It's not like I could afford a huge launch party anyway. So I just went for it, and have watched it grown over that amount of time. So it's really, it's a startup. I didn't seek funding or anything like that, or investors. So I really funded this with my own money. So I started off with a small budget, which all went into production. I really left nothing for marketing, because you guys know me, I'm not a salesperson or a business person. All I care about is an effective product. So I really have relied on it spreading through word of mouth. And I think that will be the best way to do it, with a product that actually works.
Yeah. And I noticed that you ship for free in Switzerland. Thank you very much. Do you ship internationally?
Man, I tell you, this is the hardest thing to do for a small business, is shipping internationally and working this out. So I am in the process of trying to do this. I do it. I can ship UK and Europe. I've organized that, but I'm trying to look for maybe an international retail partner, which would be easier to work with than us shipping it to the consumer directly. Customs, all that stuff is very difficult for a small business, which is unfortunate. I feel like that's really become a bottleneck, is how to work this out. So, but yeah, I'm trying.
It's a shame because obviously the US and Canada is such a big market for supplements, and it would be really good if you could get over there. But yeah, there's a lot of, other things I'm sure you would have to do as a small business. But I bought some this morning. So I am looking forward to the shipment coming in the mail, because I looked at it and I'm like, yeah, I need this anyway. Because I was looking at coenzyme Q10 and I didn't know about MSM yet, but no, I'm very excited to get my little package in the mail.
So you're not taking collagen yet?
No, maybe I just started. Honestly, I have my little vitamin pack, and I know I take omega-3s and magnesium and something for my eyes, because my eyes, like when I hit 40, my eyes were like, fuck you.
Same. How weird is that though?
I was wearing contacts since like 14 or 15 years old. I was wearing contacts every day. I never slept in my contacts, but I wore them every day. And the year I turned 40, almost to the month, my eyes just dried up. And
I can't wait. I'm 40 next year. So I'm looking forward to
your baby.
Thanks for the warning.
So I'm wearing my contacts now, but I will take them out immediately afterwards. So now I found out which contacts I can wear. But my point is, it's like my eyes just got really dry. So I'm trying to pay attention to my eyes and things like that. But I'm basically doing what Danna's doing, kind of like shooting from the hip. I'm going, okay, I know my joints need a little bit more support. Okay, so I'm going to take, but my point is I was looking at collagen, especially I think probably because when we first triggered you as somebody who we wanted to talk with, I looked at your website back then, and then I just was like, oh, okay, collagen, I should think about this. But I'm glad I ordered it, because I like these kind of supplements where, I eat a relatively good diet, but going back to what you're talking about, getting most of your nutrients in food. And part of the problem there is, even if you eat a really good diet, the soil that all of these plants are being grown in is not as nutrient dense as it used to be 50, 60, 100 years ago. Yeah. So even if you're eating a really good balanced rainbow diet of fruits and vegetables, I still think that it doesn't hurt to take an additional something on top of that. I was curious, I take athletic greens. Have you heard of athletic greens? Because I think they're come from New Zealand, actually.
They do, yeah. They've done very well. They're really spreading all around the world.
Yeah. And so
they should be a podcast sponsor. I feel like they sponsor a lot of podcasts. That's how I know them, because they're
really
sponsored by Athletic Greens. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how I heard about them, but I've been taking it for over a year now, and I don't take it every day. I actually just take it on days that I work out.
It's pretty much a multivitamin in a drink form. I think it's got a bit of bacterial culture in it.
Yeah, it's got some of that, some probiotics.
It doesn't have collagen. And I highly doubt you're taking collagen, because you would know, because you got to take quite a high dose. And if it's in a pill form, forget it. You're taking 10 pills.
Yeah, no, I'm not taking that.
Yeah, and if it is in a pill form, I'm always like, you're not getting enough collagen.
Yeah.
Should be taking more.
Vanessa, I have a question for you. We started a few years ago, actually before the pandemic. The doctor that I worked with back then recommended that we take collagen, which made sense. We wanted to do it anyways. So I started taking it with the boys, and we both got the runs from it. And it took us a couple of days to figure out that that's what it was. And we realized that we're really kind of reacting to it badly. Like, it was not fun. What could have been the case there that would have had us react so badly to it? And what would make Formetta different in that case?
So that's interesting. That can happen, because basically when you take collagen, your body is prioritizing where it should go first. And so even though people want the immediate plumping of the skin and the growing hair or whatever, it's going to go to where the body needs it first. So just as we see in diseases like scurvy, which is a collagen deficiency, that your body, you'll start losing the teeth first and the hair before the internal organs then start to deteriorate. So, and then it's the reverse if you're taking collagen. So to me, that sounds like some gut healing was probably going on. If you persisted with it, I think it would have stopped eventually. Like you probably should have started with a very small dose and let your body really get used to it and then increase. So out of a lot of customers, I've really only had probably 2 people report that they had diarrhea or like a tummy issues, and after a few weeks, no more. And they basically took half a sachet instead of 1 and worked up to being fine.
Okay. Just for the record, yours did not give me the shits. It was just that other one.
Maybe they had something else in it then.
No, it wasn't. I immediately checked. I would not have even bought it. And my doctor knows that as well.
That's what I mean. Like out of the thousands and thousands of Formetta we've sold, it's very rare to have that reaction. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Could it be that because you also have other supplements in there that help absorb it better, so it doesn't kind of like go through you as much as just?
Yeah. I mean, that's part of the reason why I think supplements can be either not effective or sometimes dangerous, is because we're meant to always have things in a food matrix, aren't we? Like I said, with the saturated fat, it needs to not be in an isolated form. It needs to be with fiber and things which slow down its absorption. So yes, I mean, you could say that helps for sure. And that's basically, that's why I'm not a huge fan of collagen peptides on its own, because we know that other things are needed to make collagen. Of course, everyone knows vitamin C, so that's just a no-brainer to have that in. And we have a natural source, which is, of course, going to be better absorbed than a synthetic form as well.
Excellent. Yeah. And I love what you said about the whole combination of things. I think a lot of people don't understand what a difference it actually makes to have, your fat with the veggies, or your, like the meat with the veggie, or like just the combination of things, just a combination of things. A lot of people come up to me and they're like, what vitamins am I getting from this meal? And what am I, and I was like, it doesn't actually matter. Yeah, of course it matters, to a cellular level, of course it matters. But at the end of the day, you want to make sure not to just have vitamin C, because back in the day, we're like, take your vitamin C, you're going to be healthier. Vitamin C needs other vitamins to actually and minerals and everything to kind of like work better in your body. And we need all of them, right? But we need to know that like your iron, that's just like most people already know, your iron is going to get absorbed better with vitamin C, right? There are definitely other combinations there that we need to understand. If it's vitamin D with vitamin K, if it's like just everything, at the end of the day, just everything. So what I always try to tell people as well, and tell me if I'm wrong, is that don't try to focus on just that one mineral / vitamin / whatever that you need, but rather make sure to eat the rainbow, make sure to get all of these variety of things in your body, and not just get stuck on 3 to 5 vegetables that you constantly eat, but really kind of make sure to have a variety of foods, whether it's proteins or legumes or vegetables or fruit.
Yeah, diversity is key, isn't it? And they've shown that I know you guys know a lot about gut health, about the diversity of the microflora in your gut, and how they need a diverse range of fiber. So a lot of people I guess it's always about shortcuts. People want a shortcut and they're trying to just, fiber supplement, and this is just not the way to go. You've got to just have a range of food, and essentially it's great. We're encouraged to have a diverse diet in a sense, and not just keep eating the same monotonous diet.
Exactly.
I'm curious, and I don't know if you have a good answer for this, but we talked about supplements and your findings when you went to look for a producer, a partner, and kind of the disappointment you had when you were doing your research for yourself about the level of quality in the products. How would you recommend our listeners, so people who do want to take other supplements for whatever reason, if a doctor prescribed or in general they have had good luck or good results with supplements, what's the best way for them to figure out which manufacturer or, company is doing a good job? And do you actually recommend a specific company in your research that you thought does a really good job with manufacturing supplements?
Such a good question, because it's a lot of work, isn't it, to do your due diligence on every single supplement. It would be great if, you just have a brand that you can trust and it takes all of the work out for you. It really depends on what supplement it is. And for, each of my clients, if I'm sourcing supplements, I really look into the brand. I write to them. I ask them the questions I want. And if they don't write back, then that's already a red flag, because they should provide you with the information, certificates, everything. I love when I have customers or pre-customers write to me and ask me questions about, where is this sourced? And they ask me lots of different questions. So I do know people or other people are doing that. I'm not the only weirdo who's writing to these companies. So, and I always write back because I appreciate that they're taking that time to do that. It's a tough one in Switzerland because I tend to usually order them overseas sometimes as well. Thorn is very good. Thorn is a good supplement brand. I think everyone here takes Bergerstein, which I just don't think is that great.
Thank you. Oh my God. I love you so much. I can tell you so many stories about them.
They're not as Swiss as people think. I'll just say that. I don't want to be in some defamation trial now or something.
We'll stop here, but I'm really glad to hear
maybe you
that.
have to bleep that company out. But I think I just get frustrated that everyone really holds that up as the best supplement brand, and I don't think it is here. And then it's very hard to get access to the other ones. So I do often have to order internationally for a specific thing as well.
What kind of questions are you asking the manufacturers? I know you mentioned certificates. So are there some quality related specific ISO standards that the supplement companies?
Well, it depends on what they're manufacturing. So for example, when we look at and I mainly did a lot of due diligence when I was doing the collagen formulation, when I wanted to find one myself. So I was asking, have you tested for heavy metals and toxins? Can you show me the certificate?
Okay.
That kind of stuff.
Yeah. So are most supplements, obviously heavy metals are more prevalent in animal-based supplements because they're like the concentration. I think that's what people don't understand, is that everything gets more concentrated because that's what it is.
Depends. I think a lot of adaptogens are also coming under fire as well. Like mushrooms absorb a lot of heavy metals too. Okay. And so that's a good question to ask a company too, if they've shown that, it's toxin free, the mushrooms. I don't know if you guys take adaptogens or anything like that. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Well, thank you, Vanessa. I think we're at the end of our time. This is so insightful for me. I didn't get through all my questions, but that just means we have to have you back for another round too. Yeah. Thanks so much.
Look, that's my fault. I'm sorry I went off on tangents.
No.
But yeah, it's too much to talk about, isn't it? I'm too excited to be able to talk about all these topics with you guys.
Yeah.
We're tangent queens. Oh, yeah. We love tangents. That's all we do.
Great. Thank you all so much for listening to this episode of the So Frickin' Healthy podcast. Before you leave, take a screenshot of this episode you're listening to right now and share it out on your Facebook stories. And when you do so, be sure to tag @SoFreakinHealthy so we can see that you're listening. Sharing on stories is going to help more people find this podcast so they too can be so freaking healthy. And if you really love us, head over to Apple Podcasts right now and leave So Freaking Healthy a review to give it a boost. You'll find links to the Formetta website and to our Facebook page in the show notes. All right, so thanks everyone, and we will see you in the next episode.
Thank you.
Bye everyone.
Bye.
Hey, you're still listening. Great. Okay, now I can tell you about my 12-week goal setting session. So in this 1-hour session, I'm going to help guide you through a powerful process inspired by the best-selling book, The 12-Week Year. I know. Everybody at this time of the year starts to think about year-long goals. And I would argue that year-long goals are really hard to contextualize. What is going to be happening in a year from now? You have no idea. But 12 weeks. 12 weeks gives you a little bit better understanding because you kind of already have your calendar booked out for the next 12 weeks, kind of know what's going to be going on. So if you can focus your goals on the next 12 weeks, you can make some really big actionable steps towards your long-term vision. So in this 1 hour session, we do talk about long-term vision. We talk about where you want to be. We talk about what your 5-year, 10-year, 3-year, all those goals are. But that's only a brief part. We know we see the long distance view, but let's break that down. And then we get into the 1 to 3 strategic 12-week goals that are going to get you to those long-term vision. Then we're going to put that into a really cool action plan with like checklists and timing and all that jazz to make sure that you are clear and that you have accountability to get those goals done. And then that's not it. Then we are going to tackle your roadblocks because you know you have roadblocks. So we're going to tackle those roadblocks. We're going to create a plan to overcome them. So you know when you start to self-sabotage, you know what you can do to get around those roadblocks. Okay, so if this is interesting for you, it is only 1 hour of your time and it's only 45 Swiss francs. I host this gig over on Fiverr, but I'm also going to put a link down in the show notes. So if you're interested, hit me up.